Okay, so you decided you wanted to try out nootropics. Maybe you've got some things in mind that you'd like improved about your brain function. Maybe you've got some certain nootropics in mind already. The next thing you need to think about is how you're going to measure the effect those nootropics have on your brain. While journaling is great, it's a great tool. I journal every day. You can write down what you took, when you took it, and the effect it had on you. But unless you are very, very in tune with your body, then you're not going to know exactly what it's doing. So a good way that I like to use to test any new nootropic I'm using is with a site called Quantified Mind. Here is what the site will look like when you first sign up for it. You can run through the tutorial. We'll just go through it real quick and I'll explain what I've done with it. They've got 5 pre-made experiments you can run. I recommend doing a couple of them just to get the hang of it before you move on to creating your own experiments. The first one is coffee. You run this test for 31 days. And basically one day you will take the test before you have your coffee. The next day you will take the test after you've had your coffee. So it can kind of give you an idea of what that caffeine is doing in your brain. The next one is meditation. We've all probably heard that meditation has a positive effect on your brain function and your mood. So this is a good way to try that out and test it for yourself. The next one is sex. This is especially important for guys. If you didn't know it, guys have sort of a sex hangover for the rest of the day and even the next day sometimes. So if you want to test that out, this is a good one. Skipping breakfast. If you're really into upgrading your performance, I suggest you try this one out. I've tried it out 3 different ways using 3 different variables. I would test one day on a completely empty stomach. I'd test the next day on bulletproof intermittent fasting, where I was still in a fasted state, but I had that fat, those ketones from the brain octane or MCT oil for fuel for my brain. And then I also tested it after I had a traditional breakfast. And I found that while bulletproof intermittent fasting, I had the best scores. The last one's time of day. The time of day can be influenced by a lot of different things. It can be influenced by what you eat, by your activity, by what you've been doing. So check it out. Try out some of these tests. And if you want to get even deeper into it, you can go down here, go to design your own experiment. And this will let you, name your experiment, pick how many sessions you want. And they've got tons of different stuff you can measure. They've got all these pre-made experiments, tells you how long they take. They're basically like little games. If you've ever messed with brain training games like Luminosity, it's that type of stuff. They even have like dual and back training on here. But you can choose any of these, any combination of them, and just really get to the bottom of what effect those nootropics are having on you. So if you want to increase your memory, you could go down here, select one of the tests with memory in it. You can do a test that's got a bunch of different ones. So just play around with it, and if you're comfortable enough, you can add your own. Add your own variables. You can also do the explore yourself one, and that pretty much gives almost all of these tests. So It's a really great tool if you really want to know what's going on in your brain when you're taking those nootropics. I highly recommend it. I also recommend that you use this site a little bit before you start taking nootropics. That way you'll kind of have a baseline to measure off of. Another site that I haven't used as much is Cambridge Brain Sciences. Basically, for the free version, you can test it every 4 hour or every 12 hours. I'm sorry, and it will give you an overall score here, and then it's got a graph down here where you can measure how you're doing. You can see how you're going day to day, and then also it's got the individual tests that you can take, and these are pretty much the same type of thing as Quantified Mind and Luminosity. They're just a bunch of different games you can play. And you've also, this will tell you what it's good for. It's got reasoning, verbal, and memory are the three things it kind of focuses on. This one's got a little bit of all of them. This one's more towards reasoning, a little memory. But you can just play around with these. It'll keep track of how you did, and then you can compare that with what nootropics you were taking. One other thing I recommend is a mood tracking app, something like Mercury app or Mood Panda. Whenever you take nootropics, they're going to have a certain effect on your cognitive function, but they also have an effect on your mood. That's because the same neurotransmitters that are responsible for memory, focus, things like that, they also are involved with your mood, the way you feel. Stuff like dopamine, serotonin, all those kind of have dual effects. They affect your brain function, but also your mood. So tracking your mood is also a very good way to learn what these things are doing for you.